What's poppin', guys? This is House Cat MMA, and right now I'm going to be going over how Francis Ngannou thinks he's John Jones. But before I get into all that, if you would just take a second to like and subscribe, I guarantee you that'll be the coolest thing you've done this holiday season. So Francis Ngannou, um, ever since he pretty much started in the UFC, but I would say it started when he was, I think it started when he beat Alistair Overeem, when he liked to uppercutted Alistair Overeem's head up into the, outer space. I think it started then. I want to say that was December 2nd of 2017. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. And the thing is, he can. He is 39 years old. He is the, within the top five punchers in the world. He can when you can do shit like that, when you probably have the second or third most powerful punch in the world, you could kind of do whatever you want. And he got to a certain level where he thought he could call some shots. But the thing is, he's not John Jones. He's not Conor McGregor. He's neither of those guys. So the whole story of Dana White, the whole story that Dana White told about how Ngannou was telling Dana about how he was asking Dana about why he didn't get the 50K bonus, and Dana was like, "Well, you didn't get it because of this, that, and the third." And uh, Dana White thought the conversation was over, and old Ngannou either put his hand on his chest or grabbed him by the shirt or something like that, and it's like, "We're not done talking," that sort of thing. And I think he did something similar to Hunter Campbell. Um, shit like that, that's not all that cool. I mean, people talk a lot of shit about Dana White, but at the end of the day, he's a reasonable man. And, the whole thing with his no longer fighting in the UFC, I think at the time, they made it out like, Ngannou was kind of leaving on his own terms, and he kind of did, but also nobody knew until recently how glad Dana White was to be rid of him. And, he does this thing where he fights Fury to a close decision, and everybody was surprised about how close that fight was, and then he gets knocked out pretty good by Anthony Joshua, and then he physically assaults Renan Ferreira, and he all that's happened, and then he goes on Ariel Helwani's podcast, and he's just talking about how there was a point in time where when Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, when that fell through, I think they asked Ngannou if he wanted to take that fight, and it just didn't fall through. And Helwani was kind of pressed to him about it, and Helwani asked about what kind of deal was it, and Ngannou just got this look in his eyes where he's like, "I didn't say anything about a deal," but like it was like it's this look. Ngannou's such a scary man, and when you know all these things about Ngannou, and then you see him do interviews afterwards, it's crazy. And why I say he thinks he's John Jones is because though I consider myself to be a John Jones fan, he does do that thing where on camera he's a good guy and off camera he is not. And Ngannou's doing the same thing, just kind of a different flavor of it. And and the whole thing of Don Davis, the president or CEO or something like that of the PFL, was pissed at Ngannou for not showing up to PFL Africa. Now he's not showing up to media shit. Well, not necessarily media, but he's not showing up to shit. He must think he's Nick Diaz. Because Nick Diaz was slated to fight George St. Pierre like earlier than he did, but since he wasn't showing up to any media, Dana White was kind of like, "Fuck you, you're fighting BJ Penn." And so now Ngannou thinks he's Nick Diaz and Conor McGregor and John Jones at the same time. But maybe if you cross those three, you get Francis Ngannou. Who knows? And and now I'm wondering why Ngannou's not fighting for the inaugural PFL championship against Vadim Nemkov. Now, because it's Renan Ferreira versus Vadim Nemkov. That's kind of weird because Ngannou physically assaulted Nemkov not too long ago. Physically assaulted him bad. Under unified MMA rules, of course. So, yeah. And then when Helwani was asking, he just asked Ngannou point blank, like he was like, "Did you lay hands on Dana White?" And Ngannou thought for a second and was like, "Then he must be the only person I laid my hands on." Or I'm paraphrasing a little bit. But that's pretty much what he said. Then he must be the only person I laid my hands on or put my hands on. So he didn't say yeah, he didn't say no, which means he did. Because if he didn't, Ngannou would be like, "The fuck no, I didn't." But no, he's like, "Well, he must be the only person I laid hands on." Whatever that means, I guess he means that if I did that, that's the only person I did that to, but also kind of subliminally saying that he didn't. But if he didn't, he'd outright say that he didn't. But, no harm, no foul. It's just Ngannou will never fight in the UFC again, and I'm sure Ngannou's not really tripping over that. But now we got some fishy business going on with PFL, where Ngannou ain't fighting for the inaugural PFL championship, and I need something to happen so him and Dan Gable can fight. But before that, I need Dan Gable to fight Alexander Romanov. So, long story short, that Francis Ngannou, man, you gotta watch him. You gotta watch him. You really gotta watch him. But this is House Cat MMA. If you want to, feel free to let me know what you thought about this video in the comments. And also, I would kind of appreciate it if maybe in the comments you let me know what kind of topics you want me to cover. I have 53 subscribers now. Very small fan base. I had 54 at one point today, but somebody unsubscribed. I mean, that's fine. I wonder why they did that, though. But, yeah, House Cat MMA. I'll catch y'all tomorrow for the UFC Fight Night, Manel Kate versus Brandon Royval recap. And, yeah, see y'all later.